we thought that we actually talk about a lot of good games lately. So we thought about changing the formula a little bit and talk about rip-offs, not super good game which sells a lot, but which of course got copies and either really badly made or well made when surpassed the original game. So that's what we're gonna talk about today.
All right, so let's just hop right in then into our topic. We're going to be talking about knockoffs, as Antoine said. And so we'll just start off with the first one on the list. We got these from Screen Rant, and the first one that they had mentioned was Killer Instinct. And I don't know if did you ever play Killer Instinct?
No, but it's a ripoff of Mortal Kombat, which was released in 1995, and of course that's what 30 years now. At this time, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, there were the big three names of fighting, and Mortal Kombat had this little tweak that you have fatalities, and it sold very well. It was fantastic. So there was not just like Killer Instinct is one name, but there might be another 10 or 20 behind because it was extremely copied on. There's about every theme you can think of. Like you like tractors, you have a knockoff of Mortal Kombat with tractors, or with sexy bikini girls, or ninja clown, or whatever. You have knockoff of everything. And on Gamerand, they chose to talk about Killer Instinct. So I don't know this specific game, but I know that this type of game has been really, really copied, and that was very fun.
Yeah, I think the idea behind this one is that because I mean, fighting is a genre, so how do you differentiate, say, a knockoff from just another entry in a genre, right? I mean, is Sonic the Hedgehog a knockoff of Mario? It's a platformer, so you could argue it was, but it did change enough of the formula, and I think that's where they draw the line. Is Street Fighter predates Mortal Kombat, but is Mortal Kombat a Street Fighter knockoff? Well, not really. It's just another fighting game, but it does do enough of its own thing. Graphically, it was very different, but also, they added things like fatalities. It was much more violent. And I think in the case of Killer Instinct, it was that they were borrowing a lot of the Mortal Kombat formula. They were doing fatality type stuff. They were doing the things that made Mortal Kombat distinct from say Street Fighter. They were saying, nope, we're just going to do our own version of that. And I think that's why this one made the list. I do remember, was it this one though, that there was a game, and you started off the fight as a human, and then if you built up a meter, you could transform into some kind of beast. That might have been this game. I'm not sure. And if that is the case, then I don't know, because I would say that that was actually a completely different mechanic, because you
Yes, that'd be a
could
ripoff of Dragon Ball.
kind of in that you're powering up, kind of. But I mean, Dragon Ball didn't have a fighting game at the time, so
Well, I was. I remember I was playing it on Mega Drive, and I had imported from Japan, so I had this actually cartridge adapter that I could put. But I don't remember the name of the Dragon Ball at the time. But
oh,
yeah, I remember it was around the 95 mark. Yeah,
hmm.
maybe even earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, I was unaware of that one. All right,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, so they copied the idea. Now, again, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, this might be part of the reason why this is number 10 on their list as to a knockoff, because it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it was another fighting game. It did borrow ideas, but it did kind of do its own thing. So maybe that's why it was listed as number 10 on their list of knockoffs. Uh, but
We
yeah.
could have actually started with this. What do you consider a knockoff? So for me, it's easy. It's this kind of, and sorry if you're Chinese, but this kind of cheap Chinese copy. You have this game which made tons of money. We could create an original game and make money as well, and create a revolution of the genre. it's so much easier to just copy something which is already successful. And in most of the games that you will see in this list, they don't make the effort to make their own thing. Like you said, Mortal Kombat, the little tweaks they had was the fatalities, and that's what make this game so popular, compared to Street Fighter 2. So, there was this little tweak, and that's why it's not too could be a similar game, of course, but not a knockoff simply because it was not made in the idea of, oh, this game is popular, I'm gonna make money out of it. I don't care about the player. All I want is to fill up my wallet.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's and if the knockoff of a game is actually more popular and there's actually one on the list like this, then it's successful.
Yeah, I think for me, a knockoff, because there's also terms like spiritual successor, and you could definitely say that a spiritual successor to a game is a knockoff. But for me, I think a knockoff is mostly a reskin. So, like you said, they're mostly copying. They're not inventing anything. They're just taking what was popular about the first game and redoing it. But B, it also to me has to seem like a cash grab in the sense that it has to exist alongside the original game. So, for example, a game like Pray for the Gods, I mean, the people that made it, they were saying, this is a spiritual successor to Shadow of the Colossus. And you could say that it's a knockoff, but at the same time, Shadow of the Colossus came out on the PS2, and we've never gotten another game like that. So I feel like it's kind of not a knockoff in the way, in the sense that the people that made it were thinking, this was a fun game. There's nothing that fills that niche right now. So but we don't own the IP. So we want something to play in that style. So I feel like if you're copying an older game, but there's nothing currently available to give you that sense, I wouldn't necessarily call that a knockoff because you're filling a niche here. But if the niche is already filled, Mortal Kombat clearly existed, then yeah, you're just saying, oh, Mortal Kombat exists. It makes a ton of money. I want to make a ton of money too. So for me, there has to be that kind of sense of almost as a bit of a cash grab and trying to take
Yeah.
away from
I,
something else.
I wanted to say opportunistic.
Yes.
Same as right now with all the COVID and pandemic situation, you see tons of movies and games I didn't see that much, but which are all like, oh my god, virus and all. And they are usually bad movies because they are done very fast just because perhaps that's the theme in flavor of the month and or the year now. But yeah, it's made just on this idea of this topic is super popular right now. I'm gonna hurry my ass off to release something, even if it's bad. That's all right because it's gonna sell because it's talked about, and that's a really terrible way to do it. But yeah, I don't think it works that well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, for example, if you were gonna make a sexy vampire movie, right, like the year after the latest Twilight film, I would say, yeah, that's completely a knockoff. You're trying to ride this wave to make your own money. But if you did one now, I would say, Twilight hasn't had a film in 10
Well,
years, so
and
you're
that's
like, okay, we're trying to give
and
fans
that's
of
why
this
that's why
something.
yeah, that's why some movies take the exact contrary. You had the Twilight movies, and right after, I don't know if you saw it, there was Warm Bodies, which basically
Yes.
is a Twilight. Yeah, it's a Twilight vampire human romantic story. So it's definitely a knockoff, but it's just it's a comedy. It's fun. They actually play on it, so it works, and it was quite fun actually as a
I
movie.
liked
So
that
you,
one. That one was good. Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that one
So
was
it
good.
could have
And
been a knockoff, but they were intelligent enough to tweak it just
right.
enough to be good.
Yeah, exactly. And then it becomes almost satire in a way because it's kind of making fun of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. I also like the fact that the guy in Warm Bodies was the war boy from uh, Mad Max, the same guy. So, but yeah, so we're moving on. We might as well move on to the next game here. So the next game on the list is Dark
A good one.
Forces, which if you are a Star Wars fan, you've more than likely played this game. And I think a lot of, this was back in a time, obviously, if you're looking at this obviously looks like Doom. This is very clearly
it has nothing to do with Star Wars. Basically, this is a kind of movie of sorry game which was developed generic. You know, they just didn't know where to sell it. Some studio developed it, and they sold it to I don't know what the license at the time. You know, LucasArts or Lucas Group or whatever. And they say, okay, I bought it, so I put Star Wars in front. Oh, wait, you don't have lightsaber? No, but I have a big machine gun. All right, but you know, Star Wars kind of lasers. Even if it's not lightsaber, at least it's pew pew. Yeah, but I have a machine gun and I call it Star Wars. So what are you gonna do?
Well, they have machine
Hey,
guns and stuff. I mean, well, I don't know if they would call it a machine gun, but they do have like automatic rifles and whatnot. But yeah,
yeah, but
yeah, yeah, it was 100% a knockoff of Doom. I think the only difference was they added a little bit more story than Doom had. Doom was basically just there are demons, kill them because that's your job. And this one, I think I don't remember exactly what you were trying to accomplish in it. Do you remember? Or
no idea.
yeah, I don't
I
remember. Yeah, I
really
don't
don't
remember
know.
what it was. I have friends that really enjoyed this game, and so they played quite a bit. But yeah, this
But
was definitely uh, a knockoff of Doom. But then also, this kind of fills from my previous description the cash grab thing twice. A, it's saying, hey, let's capitalize on Doom's popularity. That's gonna sell. B, let's capitalize on Star Wars' popularity.
oh, we
um
have a license. We're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this was 100% a cash grab. But I mean, to be fair, the Doom formula is so simple that you'd really have to try to screw it up.
Exactly. There was some genre, but somehow it really feel like a thing of the past. Doom like have been massively copied. Street Fighter like or fighting games have been massively copied. There was a lot of this kind of game which at the time were massively copied. I don't feel like it happens that much now.
Battle Royale, I think, is the most recent one to really do it, uh,
Yeah,
and
but they
that's
don't really
taken off.
copy each other. They're trying to tweak it a little bit.
They try, but I mean, most of it's the and that I think is kind of a thing in itself. Where how do you say when do you say that something is a knockoff, and when do you say that we've established a new genre? You know,
There's a graphic thing to it. Of course, now you have way more option to change the graphics, but at the time, a Doom like look like a Doom like, and you don't care about the story. Just you have a screen, you shoot what's in front of you. You have your little bar of health and the little head of the guy who take damage, and that's it. That's how you. It feels like it's the same mechanics. It looks the same. The mechanics are the same. It's exactly the same. So now it's a bit tougher to say, yeah, Fortnite and PUBG are PUBG is a knockoff of Fortnite. Yes, maybe, but at the same time, is it really because it's the same while being slightly different? It attracts maybe different kind of players, so it's a bit harder to say at the time,
yeah,
at this
like
time at least.
yeah, because like Fortnite ended up has all the build modes and stuff like that, and takes itself a little bit less seriously than PUBG and
Of
uh,
course.
yeah. But now you're getting battle royales all over the place, and all these new mobile battle
Wow.
royales and a whole bunch of games are adding battle royale modes to them and whatnot, and yeah, it's getting crazy.
So here's the question: which one is a knockoff of which one? Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Oh, I don't see. That's the thing is, I don't really know if you would consider one a knockoff of the other anyway, just because at that point FPS was an established genre, and yeah, I don't know. Or I would say that they're both knockoffs of Medal of Honor, maybe,
Maybe.
but with the military shooters. But yeah, it's hard to say at that point.